Um, so we're going to do more with array lists today. We're going to do this learning activity with Yahtzee, which is a dice game, which I grew up playing. And since I grew up playing it, you get to learn it here. So maybe you played it at some point. Okay, so we're just going to work through this. And then for your discussion, you're going to post some code for this stuff. So we're going to go to the learning activity. And I think the easiest thing is just to try out Yahtzee rather than reading the rules here. So you can see this. You can try out the Yahtzee online here. So this is the Yahtzee game. What you do is you start with 5 dice and you roll them. So I'm going to roll these dice. And what you want to kind of get is like 3 of a kind, or well, Yahtzees when they're all the same here. So I'll try something like that. So you can also get a straight. So I have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. So and I'm going to click on the dice you want to keep. So I'm going to keep the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. And then if I get a 5, I'll have all of them. I'll have what's called a long straight. So I'm going to roll. So again, you select which dice you want to keep, and then you can roll whatever ones are left again. And then you can roll it. You get 2 re-rolls. I get 1 more re-roll. So I didn't get the one I wanted. I wanted a 5. I didn't get that. But now I have this. I can score this a number of different ways. So you can say, oh, how many 1s do I have, or 2s? I have 2 2s. So that's worth 4 points. I have 1 3 of a 4. None of those are going to give me very many points because I don't have very many of those dice. But I do have what is called a small straight. I was trying to like a large straight, which all 5 dice, but I have 4 dice in a row. So that's a small straight. So I'm going to click on that. And then my opponent is going to roll. And it looks like he's trying to get his 3s. So he got 3 3s. Now I'm going to roll again. So again, you roll, you pick what dice you want to keep. I have a couple of 3s. I'm going to do that. And then you re-roll the rest. I got another 3. I'm going to keep that. And so this is my 3rd roll. Oh, and I actually got a couple 4s. So this is what is called a full house. 3 of a kind plus a pair is a full house here. So I can code that. I can do that one. So again, you play this now. The different things you can get are 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, or Yahtzee. Yahtzee is 5 of a kind. So those are pretty straightforward. You can also just code if you get like 3 2s or 4 3s or whatever. If you want, there's a spot for each one of those. Each one of these you can only score once. So once I've scored this, like I've got a full house now, I can't do another full house. Even if I were to roll a full house, I couldn't score it because there's already something in that slot here. So 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, Yahtzee, which is 5 of a kind. There's a small straight and a large straight. Full house you mentioned is 3 plus a pair. So 3 of a kind plus a pair. Chance is just anything. It just adds up the dice. So you can score anything as dice. So again, when you roll this, you pick what dice you want to keep. I have a couple 5s. I'm going to try 5s and roll again. Didn't get any more 5s. I'm going to try again. Oh, I got another 5. So I got 3 5s. So I could score this as 3 of a kind or as 5s. That's 15 points for 5s there. So I could score either one of these and then keep rolling. Has anyone ever played Yahtzee before? No. Yeah, someone has. That's good. So it is an actual game. You play it generally with dice. Did you play it with dice? Okay. It's I think it's more fun with dice here. But for what we're doing, this works out. Okay. So what are we going to do? We're going to walk through a version of this. Now, I just today and last night updated this project. There was a version of this that's still actually there that is just text-based. It's kind of hard to run. So I updated this to a GUI, a screen-based system here. Unfortunately, when I did that, it looks like the GitHub isn't working. When I downloaded the GitHub project, I couldn't get it to open correctly. Maybe, let me try if I import that. Import project. No, I don't know. Well, so I would recommend doing this zip file here rather than this GitHub one. You can get the GitHub one here, but again, I wasn't able to open it up. I think when I pushed the GitHub, I didn't push all the right files there, particularly the NetBeans project files weren't pushed with that. So if you do the zip file, that'll work. So just download that file, go to the folder, make sure you unzip it, extract it all there, and you get a folder. And then in NetBeans, you can go File, Open Project, go to that location, open it up, and you'll want to see, it should show a little coffee cup here because of NetBeans, and you can open that up. And eventually, it should be opened up in the Unit 12 Yahtzee with Swing. Swing is a library. There's a couple different libraries for doing graphics in Java, and Swing is one of them. So this is using Swing to do our graphics. And inside that, inside source, there's one file, Yahtzee Swing here, which with our code. And then you can run this. So in this version, you click on the dice you want to re-roll. So again, I've got a couple twos. I'm going to re-roll this one, and this one, and then re-roll those. Ooh, I've got a full house here. I'm not going to re-roll any of them, I don't think. So can I score this as a full house there? So again, and then you can pick which dice you want to re-roll. Maybe I want to just keep my lucky 6. I have a couple 6s. And a 5. Maybe I want to re-roll, try to get another 6. And so now I have 3 6s, and I can do 3 of a kind. But the scoring doesn't work. I clicked on for house, and it gave me 0 points. Now I click on 3 of a kind. I do have a 3 of a kind. I should get some points that said 0 points. So your job is to fix the scoring code for this. So inside our program here, there are methods that aren't working. And your job is to start picking one of these that you think would be an easy one to go with. So like 3 of a kind, check if at least 3 of the dice are the same value. So you're given an array list called dice. It has 5 dice in it. You're going to want to check if 3 of them are the same value. And if so, score the total sum of all the dice. If not, if you don't have 3 of a kind, you get 0. And so right now we set score equal to 0, and then we return it. That's why I get 0 here. Yahtzee would be check if all the dice are the same. And if so, they get 50 points. Otherwise, they get 0. Chance is the easy one. Doesn't matter what all you do is sum up the dice and return that sum. Now there's a couple methods that I suggest you create, and I'll put these in a little bit. One is to count the values. So if you give it a value and the dice, it'll return how many times that value is in that dice here. And that's helpful when you're doing some of this stuff. You can say, count how many times this dice is in here. The other one is just a sum, add up all the dice. And for like chance, it's the same thing there. You just add up and return that sum. So again, get this open. Call me over if you're having trouble getting this open and running there. And then your job will be to start by picking one of these. And then we're going to see how many of these you can get done today here. And your job will be to post one of these to the to the discussion areas. And I'll just warn you, some of them are, again, much easier than others here. So keep that in mind. Okay, how's it going? Questions? Is this making any sense? What have you tried out? Which ones are you trying out to do? You're trying three of kind and four of kind? Okay, how did you check if there were three dice the same?
I started with 40, and then I did int I equals 1, and then if I is less than or equal to 6, then the I is plus plus, I will add.
Okay,
And then the int count will equal the count value, which would be dice comma I. And then after that, I did if the count is greater than or equal to 3, for the score with some of the dice.
okay. So you use this, you use did you have a count value method here? Right. There. And then you just loop through all the dice and tried to find if any of the dice had three values in it. Okay. What other things do people try to do? So besides, did anyone else do three of a kind? Anyone do Yahtzee or chance? I'm just going to show you a quick, I think the easiest one to do is chance, and that's where we just total up things. And so again, it's going to motivate me to do these helper methods here. So I'm just going to do chance. So in chance, we don't have to check anything. We just have to sum up the dice. So again, you should be doing loops hopefully enough so you start getting used to add. So if I'm adding up all the dice, I'm going to start with some, they're all integers, some that I'm going to set equal to 0. And then I'm going to loop through all the dice and add each die to that sum. So and I could do index, but again, I'm going to use the for int die in, not in, fallen dice do. And that'll set die equal to each of the dice, the values in dice. And then I'm just going to say sum equals sum plus die to add each value. So this will just loop through and add each value to the sum here. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to say score is equal to the sum. Now, we have to do this a lot here. Like when we do three of a kind, if they have three of a kind, their score is the sum of the dice. With four of a kind, their score is the sum of the dice here. So there are a couple other places where we want to do that. So I'm going to move this code into a method, and that's what I'm just going to call it the sum of the dice. So I'm just going to do that here. And this will sum the dice. So now I have this method called sum dice. So now in chance, I can just, rather than doing all this, I can just say score equals sum dice and pass it my dice as a parameter. So now I can test this out and run this. And again, I did chance. So I'm just gonna randomly keep some things here. So now I'm gonna score this. I'm gonna just click chance, and it should tell me I got 20 points. And let's see, it should add up all the dice. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 5 is 16, plus 4 is 20. So it is adding these up correctly. It looks like it gave me 20 for that. So besides sum the dice, you can also count the values. So again, we're going to loop through and count how many times this value is in here. I have that solution here for this, count the values. count equals 0, you loop through each die, check if the die is equal to the given value, and if so, you count it and return that count. So I'm just going to grab that code and put that in here. And then if you need to count the values, like the number of one of the dice, you can. Now, one other thing you can do is you can sort the dice. Now, we did some sorting algorithms, but if you remember, I told you, you should never probably write your own sorting algorithm because there's always a fast sorting algorithm available for things like an array list like this. So I can just say collections.sort dice here. So if I want to, let's say, if I'm checking for a straight, or even I find it helpful if I'm checking 3 of a kind, I can sort the dice first. Then I know they're in order. And will that help me? If the dice are in order, will that help me figure out if there's 3 of a kind? So here's the question: if there's 3 of a kind, how do you know which die is always guaranteed to be one of the 3 of a kind of the 5 dice? So, okay, so try that. Try to do some more of these. See which ones you can. So far, we've done chance. Okay, I'm gonna break in again, check on how you're doing. One thing that might help is you can print out the dice here. So I wanted to just see how sorting worked, or to make sure sorting works. So on my 3 of a kind, I did system.out.print line and then just put the dice there and it'll print it out. And I did a sort collections.sort dice, and then I did a system.out.print line and the dice again, and it should be sorted here. And then I ran it and I clicked 3 of a kind there, and it did. So here's the printout before it was sorted: 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, and here's after it was sorted. So sometimes, if that helps you visualize it, you can also just get a piece of paper or something and write down different combinations of dice and see if that helps here. Has anyone done Yahtzee? I wanted to do a solution of Yahtzee. So does anyone have a solution for Yahtzee yet? Did you do that, Yahtzee?
No,
No.
I did. Match 34.
Ryder, have you done Yahtzee yet? Nope. No one's done Yahtzee yet?
Full house. Or
Okay. Um, Yahtzee? You're trying to do Yahtzee? Okay. Well, we'll let you try a little bit more, and then we'll look at it in a sec. So in Yahtzee, all 5 dice would be the same value. So, okay, I'm going to interrupt and show you my version of Yahtzee, which isn't going to be very good, but it's going to work. Okay, so under Yahtzee, they should be all the same. So I'm gonna say, well, they could be all ones. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Could be all ones. So I'm gonna check for a 1. So, and I have a count value where I specify the dice and the value to check, and it counts them. So I'm just gonna say count value, send it dice, and count the number of ones. See if and see there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So see if there's 5 ones. If the count value of the dice of ones is 5, then their score is 50. But then I have to count, they might be all 2s. Might be all 2s. Okay, so now I want to count also if they're all 2s here. So check for 5 2s. So count the dice and count how many twos, and there should be 5. If you have 5 twos, that works. And I want to do that for the 3s and the 4s and the 5s and the 6s here. So I'm going to count the number of 3s, the number of 4s, the number of 5s, and the number of 6s here. I set up my comments a little better. Okay, so I've got all the conditions counting if there are 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. Now I can run this and test this out and see if I can roll. One of the hard things here is you have to actually see if you get a Yahtzee to test it out here. And so we'll talk. I mean, one thing to think about is there ways to test this out rather than just playing the game again and again here? Because I have to play for a while before I can get a Yahtzee. But I can at least check. It should tell me 0 for that. And it did 0. I'll run it again and then do it again. So I have 3 4s. We can check that out. Still not. So I got 4. No Yahtzee yet. So again, you can try it out here. Now, what if you wanted to actually fix this so you got a Yahtzee here? So let's look through. I'm going to look at the code and change this stuff. So there is a down here in the below the do not change button. There is a roll selected dice here. Well, here's where's and here there should be a spot where we set the dice's value to a random number here. So you could just change that so it always gave you the same number here. So rather than doing it always to a random number, you could set that equal to, let's say, always. I'm going to keep this original one and just comment it out. And then I'm going to just always say, we're going to always roll 3s for all of our dice. So now if I play this, that didn't give me 3s. Oh, I think that's on a re-roll. So now I know when I re-roll dice, I'll always get 3s. So now I get all 3. Hey, look, I got Yahtzee and I can test out and I can get 50 points there. So, and I can then put this back. Later on, we'll look at other ways to actually test out things. This whole idea of how do we test out software to make sure it works. And especially when we want to test out these small methods, we call it unit testing. So if we want to do unit testing, we want to just test out like the Yahtzee method that I have to see if it works. How can I do that? So in a good way, but we'll not do that yet. We'll return to this at some day. I'll just warn you, this is not the best way to do Yahtzee. So it works, but this is not the best way. Hopefully, when you do your Yahtzee, you can come up with a slightly better way. So. Okay, so remember, you want to select at least one of these things, especially if you have some creative way of solving one of these and post it to the discussions. And then you want to take what's in the discussion area and respond to people, maybe make alterations or suggestions, how to fix it or how to comment, explain it more there for other people posts. I showed you on Yahtzee. Here's a way of doing Yahtzee. It works, but it's very long. Here's my solution for large straight, and tell me if you think this is always going to work. So when I think of a large straight, so I'm sorting the dice, collection that sort. So I either have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are my two large straights. They either start at 1 and go to 5, or 2 and go to 6. So I'm just going to check. I don't want to check them all. That seems like a lot of work. So I'm just going to check the ends, the 1 and the 5. So after I sort them, if they're in order, there should be 1. So I'm just going to check if the 0th one is 1 and the 4th one is 5 here. Because again, the indexes are what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are my indexes. There. And or else I'm going to check if the 0th one is 2 and the last one is 6. And if either one is that true, I'm going to say they got a large straight. So this makes sense to me. Does this work? If I have a long straight, it'll tell me that. Are there any places where just checking the ends of a long, you sorted them and you're checking the ends of a long straight? Will that always work? For what? Yeah, if you have like 4 ones, so if you have repeated ones, right? So if you have 1, 1, 1, 1, 5, you'd still see a 1 and a 5, and it's still sorted, but that's not a straight. So again, your job is to try to come up with a good solution that works all the time. This is a good solution, but it doesn't work all the time. It works some of the time, but we'd rather have it work all the time than some of the time there. So, and again, when you look at other people's solutions, see if it will work. You know, when you go through the discussions, look at their creative solutions, see if their way of doing it works. If you think it works all the time, so that's our job. Friday, we'll do some review exercises and we'll introduce the assignment this week, which is the bar chasing stuff, where we're going to create one of these visualizations of bar charts where it changes the values of them. So that's what we'll do on Friday. Okay.